I've got a little hot rod project for today. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on our quick change underneath here. I run a Winters Performance quick change center section. Basically, this is just the center of my banjo axle, and it's got a quick change on the back of it. It runs original 37 Ford axle tubes. But what I'm doing today is I'm doing a gear change, and this kit's from Winters Performance. I've got a shim kit here, but what I'm switching to is I'm going from straight cut gears to a helical cut gear. Basically, this gear has a cut that goes across sideways. The straight cut gears just go straight across. When we get the other ones out, I'll show them to you. But the reason for this switch is basically just to quiet down the gears. The straight cut gears make a lot of noise, and I don't mind the noise on it too much when I'm going to car shows and stuff like that, but I've been driving the Roadster almost daily to work, so I've been wondering about these and how much quieter it'll be. So I'm going to try them. You do have a shim kit that goes with it because these need shimmed, and we'll get into it here. So I'm going to take the cover off, try to catch as much of the oil as I can, and we'll go from there. So underneath the car here, all I really have to do is come across and loosen up these bolts. There's 10 bolts total, and then this cover is going to come off of there. The gears are behind this cover. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so as I take this cover off, I already popped it so some of the oil's been draining on it. But as I take this cover off, you're going to be able to see we've got a gear set behind there that are straight cut gears. I'm probably going to have to take it out of neutral in order to get this to move. But down inside the cover, there are actually two bearings in this cover. There's your two bearings. And those ride against these flanges that are on these gears. So our helical cut gears actually create a force that pushes back against the cover, and that's why we have to shim it. The straight cut gears pretty much just float in there. They don't push forward or back. So we're going to put it in neutral and see if we can get these gears out. Okay, so I've got the car in neutral. Basically, these gears are just straight cut, and they slide right off of those splines. So that's dripping a little bit, but I'm going to pull these gears out, and then that's what it looks like without the gears in there. We're going to check the condition of all this, make sure everything looks good there. But our shims are going to go back in behind there. We'll show you that in a second. So here's the difference on these gears. That one's a helical cut. Here's the straight gear. So you can see the difference on them. And I couldn't get the exact same ratio. The ratio, the effective ratio that was on it was, I believe, a 394 with the old set of gears. So this new set of gears, I just looked at it here. I believe it takes it from a 394 to a 387. I believe that's what it is. I'll have to look and see again. But we're going to put these in. So basically for our low ratio, I want the large gear on the bottom, the smaller gear on the top. So I'm going to fit these down in here, and then we're going to check out our shims. The shim kits come, they give you 3 different sets of shims. They're in 30 thousandths, 45 thousandths, and 60 thousandths, depending on what you need. So we're going to take these down underneath there and see which shims we need, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, with these gears sitting in place, what we need to do is we need to check the depth clearance from this flange with the gasket on it to this boss right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a straight edge and put it straight across here like that. And then I'm going to take a set of calipers and use the depth end of it right there, that piece that sticks out, to go in and find the depth of that. So we need to know how many thousandths it is between that surface and this flange right here, because that's the distance between that flange and our bearing on our back cover. And these gears will push back against that back cover under load, so we want those gears to not slap back against that back cover. So they say 30 thousandths is the minimum that you want. So we have this shim kit with all different thicknesses here that we can put behind those gears to shim them out. So we're going to go ahead and do that and see what the reading is on those and get some shims in there. So I'm going to do this on the floor here and show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to take my calipers here and I'm going to measure the width of this. So that is exactly 1 inch to the mark. So that's great, because what we're going to do is we're going to put this straight edge back up on here. Oops. Like that. And I think I can just float it there. There we go. And then we're going to take our depth gauge here and we're going to push that in on top of that gear. And it's looking like right here. Can't there, see if you can see it in the video. I get it in the light. So it looks like it's about 8.5, almost 9 thou. And we want that to be less than 3. So if we're at 9 and we want 3, let's try the, or I'm sorry, we want 9 and we've got 90 thou, we want 30 thousandths. I'm sorry. So let's put a 60 behind there and see what it does. So take my gear out. There's my shim. It's going to go on and line up with the splines there. I can get it. There we go. So it just goes back in like that. And then we'll slide our gear back in place. Like that. And then we'll put our straight edge back on. Take another measurement there and see what that ends up being. Okay, with that line back up, I'm going to bring the gauge back to it. Put it up against there, and we are at, it'll focus. Looks like we're about 25. So that is within spec. We're going to do the same thing for the top gear and put a shim behind that. And then we'll put the cover back on it and take it for a drive, see what it does. So in checking that rate required the same shim for the top gear as it did for the bottom. And I'm not surprised by that because of the depth of these. You could see that this one was stepped back once I put the shim in there. And right now, if I look across there, these are pretty much flush. They're at the same depth this way. That's exactly what you want. So we are going to grab our cover and we're going to put our cover back on. We're going to tighten up all of our bolts on here to the correct torque spec. And then the only thing left to do here is once we get all those on there is we're going to pull our drain plug. We're going to top this off with fresh gear oil. I did catch a little bit in the pan here. It's a little bit dark colored, so I'm going to just top it off with fresh. I've got some. So, and then we'll take it out for a spin.
So now for a test drive. It's doing really well. A lot less noise. I would have never been able to make this video or talk to you guys before I switched the gears on. Unfortunately, I am hearing some noises that I've never heard before. It's doing really, really well. I'm very happy with it. The gear change is a little different on the speedometer. Speedometer is reading a little bit faster now. Before I read about 2 or 3 mile an hour slow. Now I'm treating about 3 or 4 faster. Next to it. But that's okay. That's no problem at all. But all in all, I think it was a good change. I'm actually going to be able to have a conversation with one connection with your car now. So, it was pretty good.